are not just statistics. These are mothers, fathers, sisters, brothers, human beings. In 2016, there was not a single national gun violence prevention organization led by or centered around people of color. We set out to change that. Five years ago, we launched the Community Justice Action Fund to change the conversation around gun violence in this country. At the Community Justice Action Fund, we are building power for Black and Brown communities to end the crisis of gun violence. We're focused on investing in communities most impacted by gun violence, ending intimate partner-related violence, and dismantling the institutions and policies that encourages violence against or even within our communities. Over the past 5 years, we've made major strides to address the crisis of gun violence by changing the narrative around gun violence in America, building community among activists, policymakers, concerned citizens, and local leaders, and advancing bold policy agendas at the state, local, and federal levels. And today, we're seeing real meaningful change happen for our communities, from the White House,
Greg Jackson,
to City Council. But while we're proud of how far we've come over the last 5 years, our work here is far from finished.
Now, following this violent weekend,
gun violence and the trauma that kids are facing due to gun violence.
18 dead, 2 cities, 2 gunmen.
That's why CJAF's next steps include expanding our policy priorities that demand accountability, strengthening partnerships to build targeted advocacy campaigns to address gender-based, youth-based, and hate-based violence in our communities, mobilizing powerful coalitions of voters to elect leaders who support our mission. As long as people of color continue to be murdered by gun violence, we have an obligation to stand up and fight for change. So join us, march with us, speak out with us, vote with us, end gun violence with us.
Hi, my name's Amber Goodwin. I'm the founder and the executive director of the Community Justice Action Fund. We are so thrilled to be celebrating our 5-year anniversary of building power for and with communities of color to end gun violence. 5 years ago, I started the Community Justice Action Fund really to help support and fill the gap that was needed in the advocacy and policy movement to end gun violence. It wasn't easy, and it took a lot of support from so many people along the way, but we were able to continuously have the vision that we wanted to make sure that we were connecting with the people on the ground that were closest to the pain every single day of gun violence. I distinctly remember when the Charleston shooting happened in 2015 that I was struck by how many people who either survived or died in that shooting looked like me, they looked like their family members, and it really started to have me think about how could we make a difference so the people who were directly impacted by such a large tragedy actually had a home that they could go to in the political and advocacy world, and the Community Justice Action Fund was born.
Hi, I'm Greg Jackson, and as a survivor of gun violence, I know firsthand how critical this effort is.
What's up, everyone? I'm Kia Woods, and I am the Director of Culture and Administration for the Community Justice Action Fund. I create organizational policy, build sustainable systems, and I manage our grant work.
I'm Andrea Pino Silva, and I'm the Communications Director of the Community Justice Action Fund.
Hi, my name is Thea Rahman. I am the Distributed Organizing Manager with Community Justice Action Fund.
My name is Saloni Kushal, and I am the Policy Associate at Community Justice Action Fund.
My name is Irina Alejandro, and I'm the Organizing Associate for Community Justice Action Fund.
As a Black woman from South Central Los Angeles, the work that we do here is very important to me because we empower communities most impacted by gun violence.
As a person of color, this work is really important to me because I want my friends and family to feel safe in their communities.
Our work matters to me because I've never worked for an organization that actually works to empower communities to seek their own justice and transform their lives.
This work is really important to me because I believe in building power through your own community.
So April 21st of 2013, my cousins had come in town to celebrate my cousin Corey's wedding. And as we were walking home, we literally took the wrong turn and came down this street here. And there were these two guys that were arguing. I think when they saw us, they either panicked or thought that we were part of the conflict. One pulled out a firearm and just started shooting in our direction. But I'll never forget when I got to the hospital, I wasn't met by my nurse or my doctor. I was met by 3 investigators. They were questioning me about, why was I here? Why was I walking through this neighborhood? Was I selling something? Was I doing something? Who was I in a mix with? And in that moment, while I was waiting to see my doctor bleeding to death, I remember being seen as a criminal and not a victim. This was 3 days after Congress failed to vote on the background checks bill. And I remember watching them debate this issue like it was any other political issue or political hot topic. But for me and for hundreds of thousands of people every year, this is not a political issue. This is life or death for us.
Greg Jackson, who was just walking down the street when he was caught in crossfire of a gunfight.
And now I want to hand it over to some of our friends, comrades, and families in the gun violence prevention movement that we have been so honored to work with.
Peace, y'all. Erica Ford, Life Camp founder and CEO, New York City Crisis Management System. We got to stop these killings out here. We got to save our brothers and sisters. We got to put the resources and the tools in the hands of the people so that they can change the direction of their community. It is important for Black and brown people to stand front and center in their community and co-produce public safety. We have the answer. We have the resolutions. We just need the tools and the resources. Balance out the playing field, allow us to lift up the lives of our children and turn the pain into purpose, turn the generational trauma into hope and generational wealth. Shout out to Community Justice Action Fund crew, Amber, Greg, and all of the brothers and sisters out there in the front line, helping us lift a voice, helping us pass legislation, helping us get that $5 billion from the White House, and really lifting the voices of the voiceless. Peace. We love you. Thank you for your work. Straight ahead.
Good afternoon and congratulations to the Community Justice Action Fund for reaching this important milestone. I'm glad to be able to join you today to celebrate 5 years of important work centering on communities of color and conversations around gun violence and focusing on the people closest to the pain of everyday gun violence. The work you all are doing has saved lives and will continue to save more lives, especially Black and brown lives. As we work together, to end the gun violence epidemic. Thanks to your advocacy, we made a series of historic announcements on gun violence prevention 2 months ago and are continuing to roll out investments in community violence intervention and ways to treat gun violence like the public health crisis it is. This includes a proposed $5 billion investment over 8 years in support of evidence-based community violence prevention programs in the American Jobs Plan. And as part of the President's proposed budget, $2.1 billion for the Department of Justice to address gun violence and $200 million to support a new community violence intervention initiative within the Department of Justice and the Department of Health and Human Services. The Department of Justice has also issued proposals focused on ghost guns, stabilized embraces that transform a pistol into a short-barreled rifle, and extreme risk protection orders. All of these are important steps in ending the gun violence that disproportionately impacts Black and brown communities. But we also need Congress to take action to tackle this crisis by passing the American Jobs Plan and other requests for funding, and by passing additional legislation to reduce the gun violence. I look forward to continuing to work with you to make our community safer and ensure fewer people experience the fear of growing up in a community impacted by gun violence or the devastation of losing a loved one. Thank you for your hard work.
I'm Congresswoman Nikema Williams, representing Georgia's 5th Congressional District. There's no doubt that America is suffering from a gun violence epidemic. Every day, we hear of another life ended at the barrel of a gun. In Atlanta, my own community, so many neighbors have lost their lives due to gun violence this year that our local newspaper said that they can't even keep up with the violence. But I'm inspired that organizations like the Community Justice Action Fund are working to stop the madness, stop the violence, and stop the deaths. I congratulate you on 5 years of dedication to the communities impacted most. In Congress, I'm working to enact gun control to honor the life of my high school classmate, Bobby, who was gunned down on our high school campus. I'm in Congress working to enact gun control because the overwhelming majority of Americans have said enough is enough. Too many times, we talk about the action that we want, and leaders just aren't listening. Most importantly, I'm in Congress working to enact gun control for all the mamas out there who won't get to hug their babies one more time. I learned when I was way too young that we need to make our voices heard, and we have to do it now. We can't afford to wait because inaction puts lives at risk. And we won't wait because we know what's at stake, and we know that we're on the right side of history.
Wow, I can't believe it's been 5 years since CJAF's inception, and it's hard to imagine where my career would be without the presence of CJAF. When I was a graduate student, I saw Amber Goodwin's vision realized to create a national organization committed to Black and brown lives and committed to lifting up and drawing attention to the unsung heroes, thousands of unsung heroes across the country who were committed to gun violence intervention and prevention in Black and brown communities that were going unrecognized, unappreciated, underfunded, and to create an organization that now is helping to lead a movement around educating the public and getting investments to people on the ground is just incredible. CJAF has helped connect me to some of the most courageous and brilliant and committed experts and advocates on the ground doing community gun violence prevention and healing work. And I have been so inspired and so encouraged by all of the work that CJAF has done with all of its partners across the country. Amber, Greg, Talib, Kia, Thea, and everyone else at CJAF are truly incredible advocates, and it's been a pleasure. It's been an honor to work with you, and I am so excited to see what the next 5, 10, 50 years have in store for CJAF. I thank you for what you have brought to me and how you have helped shape my understanding and shaped my commitment to gun violence prevention and intervention. And I strongly urge anyone listening to this video to continue to press for investments in these communities that are disproportionately impacted by gun violence and have been disinvested in for far, far too long. We need the investment. We need everyone's commitment. And CJAF is helping to pave the way. So thank you so much. Happy anniversary. And I look forward to so much more.
I'm Jasmeet Sidhu, Senior Researcher with Amnesty International USA, focused on gun violence as a human rights crisis in the United States. When I first started doing this work several years ago, I remember sitting in a room with Amber Goodwin, and we were the only two non-white individuals. As an activist with the Global Human Rights Organization, I was shocked that such a pervasive domestic crisis had such little diversity and so few people of color within the movement. Just a few months later, Community Justice Action Fund was created, and over the last 5 years, you all have changed the landscape of the movement to end gun violence forever. You have raised the profile of grassroots community of color-led anti-violence organizations. You've worked in coalition to pass life-saving legislation. You've offered town halls, webinars, seminars, leadership programs, and trainings unlike any others. And what was unthinkable when we sat in that room 6 years ago has become a reality because of your tireless work. I will always be grateful to Amber and Greg and Talib and the whole CJAF team for your friendship, solidarity, wisdom, and willingness to bring your voices to the global stage, testifying before the Inter-American Commission on Human Rights and the United Nations, and most importantly, becoming lifelong friends whom I cherish. Your relentless advocacy and drive has saved countless lives and helped us all feel a sense of community in some of the darkest times. Sikh American activist Valerie Kaur says in her book, Revolutionary Love, "The failure to wonder is the beginning of violence. Once people stop wondering about others, once they no longer see others as part of themselves, they disable their instinct for empathy." Community Justice Action Fund helped this movement regain its wonder and recognition that every person, regardless of skin color or zip code, has the equal right to live without the fear of gun violence. So congratulations to everyone at CJAF on 5 years strong, and here's to many more.
Congratulations. 5 years. The fruits of your labor are so sweet. Your organization is essential to moving our agenda forward and to ensuring that Black and Brown communities always have a seat at the table and their voices are heard. And not only are the voices heard, but power, inclusion, and equity are rooted in the work that you continue to do. So again, congratulations, Community Justice Action Fund, for all your successes and your achievements yet to come.
My name is Reggie Moore, and I direct the Division of Violence Prevention here at the Medical College of Wisconsin Comprehensive Injury Center. It is an honor to be able to celebrate 5 years of effective leadership, advocacy, and service by the Community Justice Action Fund. Under the leadership of Amber Goodwin, Greg Jackson, and others, the fund has been at the forefront of ensuring that the voices of those most impacted by this issue are not only heard, but also supported and invested in. When I started officially in this movement 5 years ago, and we launched the Blueprint for Peace in Milwaukee, I could not have imagined that this national movement would have advanced to the point where the President of the United States has invested $5 billion in addressing gun violence as a public health issue. That is a testament to the leadership and effectiveness of the advocacy by the fund and others around the country who have advocated to ensure that communities who are deeply impacted by this issue receive the support and investment that they deserve. Congratulations on 5 years and blessings for many more. Peace.
My name is Becky Kirchhoff, and I'm the Executive Director of North Carolinians Against Gun Violence. We are honored to be celebrating Community Justice Action Fund's 5th anniversary. Our partnership with them in North Carolina has been invaluable in preventing community gun violence. Even though Black North Carolinians make up 22% of the population, they are 67% of all homicide victims. This is simply unacceptable. Together with CJAF, we've been working to reduce homicides by getting federal, state, and city-level funding for community-based and hospital-based violence intervention and prevention programs. Their technical expertise about these programs have been tremendously helpful. CJAF's national leadership has been instrumental in directing federal funding for these programs that we hope to use in North Carolina. Thank you so much for everything, CJAF, and happy anniversary.
We want to thank you so much for joining us for the Community Justice Action Fund's 5th year anniversary.
We've made so much progress over the last 5 years, but we look forward to all the work there is to come. So thank you so much for your partnership, your support, and we look forward to taking action with you to end gun violence.
If you don't follow us already, check us out below.